My parents turned their backs on me in the hospital, but Grandma knew the whole truth. I never imagined that the place where I would need my family most would be exactly the place where I would be abandoned. My name is Ethan, and that day I was lying in a hospital bed, my body weak, my arm full of needles, and my mind trying to understand what was happening. I was finished to undergo emergency surgery, and the only thing I wanted was to hear my mother say, "It's going to be okay." But instead, I heard something else, the beginning of betrayal. My sister, Melissa, came into the room with red eyes, fake crying. As always, she held her cell phone and said, "I can't believe you did this to me, Ethan." I frowned, confused. "From what are you talking about?" My mother appeared right behind her, my father too, both with a hard face, as if I were a criminal. My mother threw a paper on my bed. It was a police report. "You stole money from Melissa. Do you know how much this destroyed her?" I trembled. I never stole anything from her. My father stepped forward and spoke in a cold voice. It was envious. I always wanted what was hers." I tried to get up, but the pain was so strong that I almost passed out. "Dad, I'm in the hospital. I almost died. Please, listen to me." Melissa cried louder. "He's lying. He stole my money, and now he's pretending to be sick to play the victim." My mother looked at me with contempt, and then she said the phrase that changed my life. He is no longer our son." They went away and left me there. I wasn't believing it. "Mom, please." But she turned her back. My father didn't even look at me, and Melissa smiled. Small, hidden smile, as if it were a victory. And that's when I understood. She wanted that. She wanted to destroy me. They left the room, and I stayed there, alone, sick, abandoned, with tears running down the face and the heart broken into pieces. That night, I barely slept. It wasn't the pain from the surgery, it was the pain of realizing that my own family had chosen to believe a lie. The only person who didn't abandon me. The next morning, the door opened. A woman entered slowly, leaning on a cane, white hair, looked steady. My Grandma, Rose. She didn't speak nothing at first. He just approached the bed, held my hand, and looked into my eyes. And then she said, "My grandson, I know you didn't do it." I felt my throat close. "Grandma, no one believes me." She shook my hand, because they didn't see what I saw. I froze. "What did you see?" She took a deep breath, and that's where it all started. The truth that no one expected. My grandmother said that 2 days before, Melissa had gone to her house, saying he needed help, that he was out of money. But my grandmother was suspicious, so she left her cell phone recording audio, hidden in the room. And that's when Melissa, thinking she was alone, spoke to someone on the phone, and what she said, it was monstrous. She laughed and said, "I'm going to blame it on Ethan. My parents, I already prefer it myself. They will believe anything." Then, she said, "And if he tries to defend himself, I'll say he's always been aggressive. They're going to kick him out of the house." My grandmother was shaking when she told me. She didn't know, but I heard everything. I recorded everything. I started to cry. So I'm not crazy." My grandmother looked at me seriously. "No. You were a victim of a snake inside your own home. The plan of justice was still weak. But at that moment, I felt something reborn inside. Me, anger, pain, and a desire for justice." My grandmother said, "Ethan, I could hand this over to the police today. But first I want your family to hear it with their own ears." I swallowed hard. "They won't believe it." My grandmother smiled, but not it was a smile of affection. It was a smile of war. "Oh, honey, I'll make them believe." She left the hospital and called my parents. He spoke in a calm voice, as if nothing had happened. "Your father, your mother, come to my house tomorrow. I want to talk about the future of the family." My parents went right away, because when Grandma Rose called, No one said no. The humiliation that Melissa deserved it the next day. My grandmother organized a dinner. My father went, my mother went, Melissa went, and I was also taken in a wheelchair, still weak. When I entered the room, the atmosphere became heavy. My mother didn't even look at me. My father just crossed his arms. Melissa pretended to be sad. I'm sorry you're like this, Ethan. I just wanted you to be honest. Mine grandma banged her cane on the floor. He arrives. Everyone was silent. She then took out a small recorder and placed it on the table. Melissa, do you remember that? Melissa turned pale. What is this? My grandmother pressed play. And then the room was filled with her own voice, laughing, mocking, saying that my parents would believe anything, saying he wanted to destroy me. Her voice echoed like a sentence. My mother turned white. My father opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Melissa started to shake. No, that's a lie. It's a setup. But my grandmother faced her like a judge. Montage? Then why does your voice say exactly what you did? Melissa began to cry desperately. But this time, it was real. My parents fell to their knees. My mother looked at me. Her face fell. He got up quickly and came to me. Ethan, my son, forgive me. I didn't know. My father stood there, motionless, as if the world had broken. Then he stepped forward and said, I abandoned my own son in a hospital. He looked at Melissa with hatred. You made us destroy him. Melissa shouted. I just wanted attention. I just wanted you to love me more. My grandma got up slowly, and he released the heaviest sentence of all. So you destroyed your brother's life out of selfishness. You don't deserve this family. The perfect revenge. Melissa thought that was the end. But it wasn't. My grandmother opened a folder and placed it on the table. Also, I reviewed the bank accounts. My father frowned. What accounts? My grandmother turned the folder over, and there they were. Vouchers. Transfers. Absurd. Expenses. Shopping in expensive stores. All in Melissa's name, and all with my parents' card. My mother started crying. She stole from us, my grandmother said. She didn't just steal from you. She stole a piece of this house. My father took a deep breath, and for the first time in my life, he shouted at Melissa, You're out of here. Melissa despaired. Dad, please. But he pointed to the door. Now? She left crying, screaming, slamming the door. And at that moment, I felt a strange sensation. It wasn't joy. It was something deeper. It was justice. The final justice. The next day, my grandmother went to the police, delivered the recording, delivered the documents, and Melissa was investigated for fraud and theft. But her worst punishment, it wasn't the police. Was losing everything she always used as a weapon. The trust. The love. The manipulation. She tried to call my mother several times. My mother didn't answer. Tried to call my father. He blocked it. She tried to talk to me, and I just sent a message. You destroyed me for fun. Now live with it. The redemption I didn't expect. Few days later, my parents went to the hospital. This time, not to accuse me, but to beg. My mother held my hand and cried, I failed you. My father, a man who never cried, cried too. I should have protected you. I was blind. I was silent for a few seconds, and then I said, You left me alone on the worst day of my life. My mother sobbed, I know, and I completed, but Grandma didn't let me. My grandmother smiled from the corner of the room, and he said, Family isn't the one who raises you. It's the one who doesn't abandon you. The end. With justice and a fresh start, I left the hospital weeks later, stronger, not just in the body, but in the mind. I realized that I didn't need the approval of someone who betrayed me, and that true love, sometimes it comes from just one person, my grandmother. The only one who saw everything, the only one who believed, the only one who brought justice, and I'll never forget what she said to me before I left. They turned their backs on you, but I turned the whole world against the lie. And at that moment, I knew Melissa lost, and I finally won. Claro, aqui está a parte 2 traduzida para o inglês. Mantendo o mesmo clima dramático, intenso e com vibe de história viral. Parte 2 menos, my sister tried to ruin me again, but Grandma ended her forever. I thought it was finally over. Melissa had been kicked out of the house. My parents found out the truth. I was recovering. I was finally starting to breathe again. But I forgot one thing. People like Melissa don't accept defeat. They come back. And when they come back worse. She showed up when I least expected it 2 weeks after I left the hospital. I was trying to rebuild my life. I went back to school. I started walking on my own again. I even smiled sometimes. But the nightmares never stopped. I kept dreaming about that hospital room, my parents turning their backs on me, and her smile. Then one day, after school, I saw a black car parked across the street. The window rolled down, and there she was. Melissa. She looked different. Perfect. Hair, expensive clothes, flawless makeup. Like nothing ever happened. She smiled and said, "Hi, Ethan." My body froze. "What do you want?" She tilted her head, pretending to be sweet. "Just wanted to talk, like siblings." I stepped back. "You're not my sister." Her smile disappeared and turned into hatred. "You ruined my life." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I ruined your life. You lied. You destroyed me." She laughed. Cold, empty, and yet, you're still alive. That annoys me. My heart started pounding. She leaned closer and whispered, "You think you won? You think Grandma will save you forever?" Then she smiled again. "I'm going to take everything from you." And she drove away. That night, the nightmare began. 2 days later, my life turned into hell. Posts started spreading online. TIK2KS, Instagram stories, fake screenshots, edited conversations. And every caption said the same thing. Ethan is a liar. He destroyed his own sister. I couldn't believe it. It was like the whole world was turning against me again. At school, people whispered. Some laughed. Others looked at me with disgust. A girl I liked blocked me without even asking. Even teachers treated me differently. And then, the worst part came. The accusation that almost destroyed me. On Friday morning, I was walking through the hallway when the principal called me into his office. When I walked in, there were 2 police officers sitting there. My stomach dropped. The principal spoke seriously. "Ethan, we received a very serious report." My hands started shaking. "What report?" One officer placed a folder on the desk. "Your sister, Melissa, filed a complaint against you." I froze. "What?" He continued. "She claims you threatened her, and that you tried to attack her last night." My vision blurred. "That's a lie." The principal stared at me. She showed bruises on her arm. She said, "You did it." It felt like the world collapsed. It was happening again. The same nightmare. Melissa was repeating everything, and this time, she was trying to destroy me completely. My parents almost believed her. Again, when I got home, my parents were already waiting in the living room. My mom was crying. My dad looked broken. I knew it. They had already heard. My father looked at me and asked, "Ethan, is it true?" My chest cracked. "Dad, are you seriously asking me that?" My mom sobbed. She said you went after her, that you lost control. I yelled. I never touched her. My mom lowered her head. My dad stayed silent, and for a few seconds, I saw doubt in his eyes. The same doubt from the hospital, the doubt that killed me inside. I turned around and ran to my room, and I cried like I never had before. I was tired. Tired of being the villain, tired of being the one they threw away. Then, Grandma arrived that night. I heard firm footsteps climbing the stairs. My bedroom door opened, and there she was, Grandma, Rose, with her cane, with her sharp eyes, and with a calm that scared me. She sat beside me and said, "She's back, isn't she?" I looked at her. "Grandma, she's going to destroy me." Grandma held my face in her hands. "No, my boy." Her voice was quiet, but powerful. "Now it's her turn to be destroyed." A chill ran through my body. She continued, "She has no idea who she's messing with." The final plan. Grandma called my parents into the living room and asked, "Are you going to fall for the same lie again?" My dad tried to defend himself. "Mom, the police are involved." Grandma slammed her cane on the floor. "Shut up. I'm not finished." The room went silent. Then she said, "Melissa is smart, but she's arrogant. And arrogance makes people careless." She turned to me and said, "Ethan, you're going to do exactly what I tell you." I swallowed hard. "Okay." Grandma smiled. "Good. We're going to catch her in the act. The perfect trap the next day." Grandma called Melissa. She put the phone on speaker and spoke in a sweet voice, pretending everything was fine. "Melissa, dear, I've been thinking, maybe I was too harsh on you." There was silence. Then Melissa's voice came through. "Really?" Grandma continued. "Yes, I want to see you today, at the cafe near the park. We need to talk." Melissa laughed softly. "Of course, Grandma." Then she hung up. My heart was racing. I asked, "Grandma, what are you doing?" Grandma answered calmly, letting her believe she won. Melissa fell for it like an idiot. We went to the cafe. Grandma arrived first. I stayed outside, hidden near the window. My phone was recording, and inside Grandma's purse, there was also a voice recorder. Melissa walked in confidently. She sat across from Grandma and smiled. "So, you decided to love me again." Grandma spoke calmly. "Melissa, why are you doing this to your brother?" Melissa rolled her eyes. "Oh, Grandma, because he's weak." Grandma asked, "Did you fake that police report?" Melissa laughed, and then she said the words that destroyed her. "Of course, I faked it. It was easy. I just pressed my arm against the wall. Boom, bruises." Grandma didn't move. "And why do you want to destroy Ethan?" Melissa looked around and answered, "Because I hate him. Always have. He was always the favorite." Grandma narrowed her eyes. "And the money?" Melissa smiled coldly. "I want everything. The inheritance, the house, all of it." Then she leaned forward and said the worst sentence of all. "I won't stop until he disappears." I felt sick. Grandma showed who was in control. Grandma slowly stood up and said, "Thank you." Melissa frowned. "Thank you for what?" Grandma pulled the recorder out of her purse and placed it on the table. Melissa turned pale. "What is that?" Grandma smiled. But it wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who already won. "Your sentence." Melissa jumped up. "Turn that off." Grandma raised her voice. "Everyone here heard you." People in the cafe stared. Melissa began screaming. "You can't do this." Grandma replied, "Yes, I can. And I just did." The police were already waiting. 2 police officers walked into the cafe. Melissa froze. "What? What is this?" One officer said. "Melissa, you are under arrest for filing a false report, fraud attempts, and defamation." Melissa started crying, screaming, begging. "I didn't mean it, but it was too late." I stepped inside the cafe, and when she saw me, her face twisted into pure hatred. She screamed, "You did this. You're a monster." I looked her in the eyes and said, "No, I just stopped being your victim." She was handcuffed and taken away. People were recording. The whole world saw it. Her lies collapsed, her total downfall. The following week, everything she tried to do to me came back to destroy her. Social media was now filled with posts saying, "Melissa lied. Melissa manipulated everything. Melissa tried to destroy her own brother. She lost friends. She lost her reputation. She lost control. And worst of all, she lost her mask. My mom cried for days, blaming herself. My dad couldn't sleep, but this time, they didn't doubt me. They finally understood who Melissa truly was. Grandma's final move, the ultimate revenge, when the case began. Grandma did something no one expected. She called a lawyer and changed her will. I was in the room when she said, "From this day on, Melissa gets absolutely nothing." My mom's eyes widened. "Mom, that's too harsh." Grandma replied coldly, "Harsh is what she did to Ethan." Then she looked at me and said, "You are my heir." I swallowed hard. "Grandma, I don't want money." Grandma took my hand. "It's not money, it's justice." The ending she deserved. Months later, I heard Melissa tried to run away, but it was too late. She was marked, no friends, no family, no one. And one day, I received a letter. It was from her. It only said, "You won." I stared at it for a long time. Then I ripped it apart, because I didn't want anything from her anymore. Not hate, not revenge, not even memories. I just wanted peace, and I finally had it. Final scene on the porch. I sat beside Grandma. The sunset was beautiful. She sipped her tea and said, "Ethan, bad people always think they can manipulate the world." I looked at her, and what happens to them? Grandma smiled. "They forget that sometimes. Someone is watching." She stared at me and said, "And I always watch." I smiled for the first time in a long time, because I knew I would never be abandoned again, and Melissa would never have power over me again.